Currently running at Nordic Heritage Museum is a vibrant textile and design exhibit called Marimekko with Love. And here to talk about the show is the CEO of the Big Cheese, Mr. Eric Nelson. Hi there.
How are you?
I'm great. And I want to point out that we are both wearing some Marimekko duds. These are from Perko, which is a store here in Seattle and Bellevue as well. Okay, so Marimekko was founded in 1951-ish by a Finnish couple. Say their names for me.
Oh my gosh.
Armi,
yeah, exactly. Ratja.
And Viljo.
Vilja, also Ratja.
Ratja. So who were these two people?
Okay, so Vilja had a textile factory in Helsinki, and Ratja was a young student and started to work for him doing textile design.
Mm-hmm. She was really quite the designer.
Oh yeah, designer, and really fascinated with kind of moving things forward and actually really taking the textiles and creating dresses and outfits and moving forward in that direction from just the sheer production.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, so they came out of World War II. Mm-hmm. Were designs and textiles and patterns, were they different in pre-World War II? And if so, how? How would you describe that?
Well, you know, it's interesting because the design aesthetic in the Nordic region, in Scandinavia particularly, in Finland, they started to evolve in the late 20s and early 30s and really became very popular, really focused on, you know, creating beautiful things for the common people.
Yes.
And, you know, the aesthetics started then, the war came up, put kind of things on hold.
Slowed it down a bit,
scarcity, you know, hard enough to find food, let alone, you know.
Make a design.
Exactly.
Design clothes, yeah.
Right. So coming out of the Second World War, there was a huge need and desire for, you know, kind of creating a much more vibrant aesthetic.
Yeah. So it's a really, it's a feast for the eyes, this exhibit. So tell me a little bit about what's in this show. Walk us through a few things.
Yeah, this show was originally put together by the Textile Museum in Ontario. It's a collection that comes out both from the Textile Museum and an individual collector who's one of the first people to bring Marimekko into North America, starting in '59. Okay. Janis Kravis was this guy who was an architecture student in Toronto, and he just fell in love with Marimekko and went back every summer and bought product and brought it over and kind of became this amazing collector. So it's a combination of his collection and the collection from the museum. There's over 400 objects.
Wow.
So things like what we're wearing, incredible things, but also, you know, examples of old photo shoots from the 50s and 60s in Helsinki. There's wonderful textiles and correspondence from Army, and the most vibrant and amazing textile fabrics that you've ever seen.
Yeah, they're kind of mind-blowing. You know, one thing that was a highlight of the show, I think, is some of the archival stuff, and it looks at some of the kind of social relationships and personal stories. And I'd like to just touch on Jacqueline Kennedy, who really gave Marimekko a push in the 1960s in the presidential election, right? She wore what, 7 of the dresses?
Yeah, I think it was 7, and they were all purchased at the other North American who was a great friend of Arme's and would go over every summer. His name was Benjamin Thompson, and he had a little shop in Massachusetts and Cambridge, I think. And somehow she came across him, or he came across her, and boom, history was made from the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Right, on Sports Illustrated, she was wearing a Marimekko.
Exactly.
How would you describe, if you could, the influence of Marimekko in the designs and fashions of today?
For me, I really got hit with Marimekko back in the 80s when I was in Helsinki and couldn't believe it. I went into the shop and the only thing I could afford was a little napkin square, but the patterns were so amazingly impressive that I grabbed it and carried it around in my bag for about a year. Yes. But still today, you see these fabrics and these fashions and these designs, and they're just as impactful. One of the things that was really interesting about Arme was she surrounded herself by young designers from all over. I mean, from Japan, from Germany, from the US, and really let them have free reign to create these incredible patterns. And if you walk through the exhibition, some of the designs and some of the that you'll see, you got to shake your head and say, yeah, this is definitely ahead of its time. And whoever designed that and let that go out had no fear.
How they let their freak flag
fly,
right?
Right.
Well, thank you so much for coming in to chat about this. And Marimekko with Love runs now through July 9th at the Nordic Heritage Museum in beautiful Ballard. Absolutely. And you can check out Marimekko Fashions at Perko. They're currently located in Bellevue Square, and they're reopening at their downtown Seattle store this spring because they're renovating right now. We should actually be doing a little fashion show catwalk.
Absolutely.
Don't you think?
We've got a bag full of stuff.
Oh yeah. Can you do the walk?
I can't do the walk, but I'll follow you if you want me to.
Okay, good. Okay, you follow me.
model view. Show it off, baby.
Love the camera.